could switch up quick as a flash of a picture. I knew the dad with a pistol. Time got hard, had to deal like a pickle. I was in the yard trying to deal me a nickel. Never chase a bitch, I don't even chase little. Thought she was bad, but her friend looked thicker. I'ma get her bad cause I'm trying to get rich. And I'm still in the streets like a concrete mixer. Yeah, I'm really with it. I want with niggas with hundreds and fifties. He want a war, then he coming up missing. Watch out, little boy, I do not play with children. Hope that you listen. Chain on me glistening. I ain't been broke in a minute. Bitch, and I hope you offended. I had to go out and get it. Lord is my witness.
Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to P.M.S The Podcast. I'm Shin214, and as I already stated, welcome. Now, in our past couple of shows, we've talked about an array of different things, from polyamorous relationships to energy vampires to just simply letting everyone know that it's okay to not be okay, and bask in that and understand that. And today we're going to talk about something, as always, a little bit different. As y'all pretty much picked up on me by now, I am very, very random. And today we're going to pretty much talk about, basically, when it comes to people and their bullshit or our bullshit, why do we always go for what's familiar? Why do we always go back to it, I should say? You know, we as people probably already aware we are attracted to what's familiar. We are aware probably already that we as people are attracted to what's familiar to us. And because of that repeated exposure to certain people, situations will increase. And our attraction to them, because we consider them to be safe, unlikely to, cause chaos and just, again, BS, we consider them to be safe, and we all know that most likely the people or situations are most likely toxic or energy draining without realizing it until it's too late. And with that, it gets a little scary sometimes, because we can both be on, different ends of that spectrum. We can be the energy draining ones, and we can also be the ones that's getting the energy drained from us. Now, unconsciously, we give preference to things and people we're familiar with, even if it's stuff you're being repeatedly exposed to. If it's negative, i.e. like an abusive relationship or like a toxic friendship, or, a bad, relationship between parents and child, we tend to be drawn to people who are similar to us. We are commonly attracted to those who remind us of our loved ones, such as our parents. Just like I stated, it could be a toxic relationship with parents, but because that person will basically remind us of our parents, no matter how toxic or how energy draining they could be, we cling to that because it's familiar. We're used to it. Sometimes more than others, some of us are more attracted to the toxicity of that person because we think that we could change them. We think we can save them, if that makes sense. And I just feel like we should just get out of that altogether. Now, as I stated, it could be parents. It also could be formal significant others or friends. Subconsciously, our spidey senses activate because simply, y'all, the other person has triggered some kind of resemblance or similarity to, a personality trait of that toxic person we're trying to get away from, or, it reminds us of a certain situation. And at times we end up forming bonds with these toxic people simply because, for one, again, as y'all can see, I love to use the word simply, but a lot of this stuff that goes on with us and a lot of these situations are more simple than we think they are, and we just can't see it. Sometimes we need a third eye, an extra set of eyes to help us see that this situation is toxic and we have to get the F up out of that situation, right? you know? But at times we end up forming these bonds that are toxic because, again, simply also you have a light that makes you shine like significantly bright, and that what makes them jealous. And on the flip side to that, it makes them jealous, so they cling to you as well, because if they are that energy draining person, that person that we can't just let go, but it sucks the life out of us, they see our weaknesses, which is that light, and it makes them want to leech onto that light, so they can get some of it for themselves. They might not understand it or realize it, but subconsciously that's exactly what they're doing. And as I stated before, most of the time we don't even realize it until it's too freaking late. And that's what's the scary thing about it. And with that being said, I kind of wanted to give a brief story time on how I'm familiar with being on both ends of that spectrum, to where I rather levitate, I float to that person and I gravitate to the negative energy. And I can be on the other end where I may, appear to be negative to others, or I may not necessarily be negative, but I can be like just so down in the dumps and so caught up in my crap that it gives off a negative connotation. And so with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and come in front of the camera and express these stories to you. So here we go, guys. Okay, so once again, hey guys, and welcome to P.M.S The Podcast. And this is going to be what I call, I guess, the second half of this segment. If you are interested in doing a fun advice column, maybe more so getting the confirmation that you need, something fun, something lighthearted, if you want to tell your story but anonymously, please send it to said email, pms2andforthepod@gmail.com, and I and or possibly a guest will be more than honored to give our 2 cents on whatever your story may be. Send it to the email somewhere on this screen. Okay, so I believe. No, oh, and one more thing. I am a content creator. I am trying to make this channel grow. I would like to do traveling vlogs as well as different behind the scenes vlogs for when I do photo shoots, or if I decide to go on internet radio and do a show there. Like to help donate to the channel so we can continue to get this channel growing and going. Cash App will be on the screen somewhere. PayPal will be on the screen somewhere as well. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and get to the story. So basically, in the first half of PMS the Pod, we basically talked about just a general synopsis of why we always kind of cling back to the toxicity, to what's familiar, if you will. And that's just simply because, it's familiar. We're used to it. It reminds us of a old friend, a parent, family member, whatever. It reminds us of something or someone that has instilled, just something in us, whether it's bad, good, whatever. We're used to it. Even if it's bad, we may think we're okay with it. Oh, this is just who they are. We just deal with it, right? Well, for me, I would like to believe that I've been on both ends. Now, this is slightly more recent. I am going to name her Susan. This is where I feel like, for me, I was completely drained, right? So this friend, I met her in 9th grade. We have been friends all the way up until 2020, 2019, 2020, depends on how you look at it, but we can get into that a different day. I guess, I say it real quick. I guess it depends, because we had a moment where I tried to reconcile with her. earlier this year. So basically, me and Susan, we were really close friends because, again, we both had mothers that we felt like didn't really like us. For her, it was her grandmother that she was raised with. She was a church girl. She, was in church almost every day of the week. If not, she was at home by herself because her grandmother was at work. So, you know what they say about church girls. So, being that she was a church girl and she was locked in all the time, but that was my best friend, and I was riding with my best friend. But anyway, so me and this girl had a whole topsy-turvy friendship, and a lot of things were taken away from me, at that time. So I was in a really dark place. I didn't really want to deal. I've been through a lot, but I grew from that, and I am growing from that, and I'm pushing through. But as I was saying, a part of me would feel like because a person said sorry, that was enough, that it was okay, that it was just water under the bridge. But growing up and getting older, having kids, going through life, you tend to wake up and realize that sorry isn't enough, and that just because a person has been in your life for years on top of years doesn't mean that they're meant to be in your life forever. You know what I'm saying? So with that, when I got into another recent relationship, I think I fell into this relationship with her because it was familiar. When I befriended this young lady, it came really from nurture, a place of wanting to support, wanting to give that shoulder. Make a long story short, it worked out in the beginning. I guess they didn't really like the advice that I was trying to give them. Sometimes, people are not willing to accept what you're trying to say. I'm a realistic individual, and I do have a gift of discernment. And that gift of discernment will tell me exactly what I need to know. You can tell me something, or I can be observing something that you're going through, and I can come to you and tell you that if you do this, X, Y, and Z will happen. And about 9 times out of the 10, I'll be right. And I'm not saying that like to toot my horn. I'm not saying that to, beat my chest. I'm simply saying it because it's my gift. And with this particular person, we'll just name her Molly. We'll name her Molly. With Molly, I think she couldn't take my discernment. I think she wanted to live in a bubble of optimism and a bubble of of not seeing shit for what it is, until it happens. And I'm not that type of person. I'm that type of person is if I can see the bullshit, I'm going to try to avoid it. I'm not going to go dive right into it thinking that I can do something different when I know I can't. And I've been in a relationship for closer to 20 years than 5 years. I've been in that motherfucker for 13. So I have no room to hate on anybody else's relationships or, anything, their employment, their happiness, whatever goals they reach. I wish everyone nothing but the best. However, but if I see something, if I feel something in my bones, I feel like if we're friends or if we're cool, I should be able to tell you that. Now, you can take the advice however you want to take it, but don't classify me as negative because you don't want to accept it. At the end of the day, we're all adults. And I feel like if we're going to be friends, if we're going to be sisters, if we're going to be close or whatever the case may be, I should be able to tell you what's up and you should be okay with it. And even if you're not, isolating me or making me feel away or trying to change the narrative to make me seem like I'm negative when I'm completely far from that. And I've been through some very negative shit in my life, and I try my hardest to remain as optimistic as I possibly can. However, I am a realistic individual. I don't live in the flowers and the trees. I don't float on clouds and think that every day is 75 and sunny. No. Sometimes it's a blizzard out here. Sometimes it's hot as fuck. Sometimes we finna go through some shit, and that's just what it is. And I'm the type of person that I'm not that whole if I knew then what I know now type of chick. I'm that I want to know now so I can avoid it type of chick. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to change how I perceive things and how I look at things. Unfortunately, me and Molly, I don't believe we're no longer friends. She just kind of stopped talking to me. And for that, I just kind of returned the favor. I really just wish you the best. I really don't have anything negative to say. But with that being said, you guys, I hope that this, my venting session slash, podcast, if you will, has helped some. I hope this familiarizes, other situations with other people. Maybe, people would realize that, you don't have to cling to what's familiar. Sometimes it's okay to jump outside the box. If you feel, uncomfortable with that familiar friendship, relationship, or whatever, it's okay to bow out. It's okay to leave. You can simply just walk away. You don't have to dump all your bullshit on another person, and you don't have to accept being dumped. You know what I'm saying? It's a two-way street. I hope I didn't lose anybody in this conversation, but I'm going to go ahead and head out. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope everybody takes the time to align their chakras. I am learning about chakras and I'm learning about meditation and different things myself. And as always, I love everybody that loves me. And remember, in order to heal, you must already be broken. And what don't break you will definitely make you. Peace, and thank you for coming to PMS Poppin' My the podcast.